now to start us off in the CSI5 Star 2 phase, number 750, James Cruz and Shane Sweetum, first to go.
Well, a very good afternoon and welcome to the Thunderbird Show Park here in Langley in Canada. And it is a part of a big week for the Major League show jumping. It's going to be 2 massive weeks here, 2 5-stars on the bounce with Nations Cup next week as well. But it's team competition for Major League. We're concentrating on week 1 of the big rundown here in Langley, and starting off with some big names as well. Big Class 2 coming up for you with something like 85 to go in what essentially is going to be a warm-up for those coming into this class. In fact, a little less than that as we go into this upcoming class. And starting with Shane Sweetum as our first to go, and with James Cruz. This terrific horse that those who've been following the sport we've seen a few times this season. Really exceptional one that came from Francis Connors. Two-phase competition to take us into this first class of the week, and we'll also give you a little rundown of who's in the teams, what's coming up for Major League jumping here this week, because of course the first stage of the Major League for 2022. On to the jump-off section as they come up to that, to 7A and B in this two-phase, that changeover after fence 6 that we've just seen. And I think we'll see a few just going a little steadily into this class, as say. It's going to be the first touch into the week. This is a 9-year-old, the Irish bred by Cannon from CSF Telly Cruise for Ireland's Shane Sweetum, who's part of the newly named Spyco Spies team. And as I say, into that second season, we're going to see quite a few changes around, some new faces, a few well-known faces after 12 months of the tour last year as well are back with some new team names, some new team logos, and a little shake-up along the way. And shaking on down to the final fences on course, with 12 fences on the track for this first two-phase. Clearing 52.66 for the first there, going clearing both phases for Shane Sweetum, James Cruz. Good start for them. To say it is going to be really, for most, their first venture into this beautiful grass arena here at T-Bird. The Tidball family and all the amazing team around that have produced this event so beautifully, as they do every single time. It's been the host for a number of big competitions, as I mentioned, Nations Cup coming up next week as well. We've seen World Cups here and some great local competitions too. There's something for everyone here this week, and so beautifully done. Daniel Rija now. Tentacion LS Lassie on the 10-year-old for the Mexican rider. Daniel we saw last year, still youth on his side, just completed studies for the year up to now, all ready for the summer at Miami University. Last year even went through into one of the finals for the team event, and it was a good introduction for him into the top level last season too. Of course, all the stages of Major League Jumping, all 5-star big competitions. Starting here this year, as we go to plan a little more this year with Vancouver here. First stage of the tour. Last year's, as happened to events all around the world, a little more COVID interrupted. This year, smoother path we start here in the fabulous grounds here at T-Bird. It'll take us several stages of the Canadian venues, Angelstone, and the new venue that will be heading to Ottawa later on in the year as well. That's going to be in August. They're just 3 of the 10 stages. Coming to this Show Plus fence as the last for the young Mexican rider. And for them as well. Clear 51.25. So a little bit quicker. So it takes them into the early leads of this two-phase special class. So what does two-phase special mean? It means they will jump all 12 fences on the course. And their score will be the faults carried across both those phases. Time from the second phase. Time allowed for those that are interested, 42 in the first phase, 53 in the second. Couple of seats out there, but all the seating ready for the weekend. Ready for the crowds to head in here and see a very strong group coming up here this week, including Kent Farrington, Chateau, the 9-year-old by Chaco Blue. Kent joining the tour this year as well as part of Major League Jumping team for Team Lugano. Kent Farrington going to be alongside Canadian Erin Ballard. There's going to be Natalie Dean, Carly Faircy, Hilary McNerney and Vanessa Hood, all part of that team. Lugano Diamonds newly named team for this year. Team Eye Candy with the team that won last year and will remain with that. So when I get to one of their riders, we'll run down their team for you. Kent Farrington with a lovely string of horses coming to the right to the top level now. Several very good group of 9-year-olds. Won 2 3-star Grand Prix in Wellington a few weeks ago, which of course were a stepping stone for these horses that have been really looking towards the 5 stars from Jumping Electric a little bit earlier on. And the 2-star, that's another one that went well down there in Florida with a good win behind them there. But Kent, of course, has won some of the biggest Grand Prix in the world, including probably the biggest in Aachen. 9-year-old here by Chaco Blue. So Celebet back to Dobel Cento of Germany. But really exciting string to take him through the next few years and towards those Paris Olympic Games as well, I'm sure. Roll back here. Peter Grant, our course designer here this week. Peter not long back from designing the courses at the 5-star in Mexico City a few weeks ago. He's built 5 stars in Calgary at Spruce Meadows before now too. Actually, Peter was born and brought up about 10 minutes away from this venue. Lives in Calgary these days, but one to watch out for and build some lovely courses. There we go. Pops the last, and going to see him much quicker at 44.80 for Kent Farrington and Chateau. A much more economical course for him there. Nice cruise around. Not big money on this course, to say it's more about getting into this grass arena and getting a little bit of a look around for the horses here this week in preparation for those big 5-star classes throughout the week yet to come. Look across the arena, and should be Paul O'Shea and Chancellor S. For those that followed the Major League show jumping last year, Paul, one of the stars of that, including with this horse. He won the Grand Prix in Mexico on this ride for the Trelawney Farm. And in fact, that doesn't look like Paul. I think we've made a change onto Juan Ortiz and Kinky Boy Van Heer's Gildenhoff. Didn't look like Paul coming down there. And on the Belgian-bred 12-year-old by Nabab the Rev. Kinky Boy horses he's been riding this season was also ridden with McLean Ward. This horse from the Belgian Darko lines. Just going to go on the turn then, unfortunately, just as they skew, taking that one behind. Just settles back down on the corner. Leaves them that one from home. And we'll leave them with a score of 4 in that second phase. Kinky Boy Van Heer's Gildenhoff, to give the full name. 48.77 the time. Goes into our group at the moment. I think it is just on the 4, so goes into 3rd place so far. That's Paul O'Shea. Chancelloress. And a variant by Chaco Blue, as I mentioned, winners of the Mexico stage in Monterrey in the La Silla fabled venue, which will return to the Major League Jumping this year. 2 weeks in Monterrey. As ever, a venue that's very used to putting on big shows throughout its career. Great history to it. Of course, that early rail for Paul there with that first fence down. Paul and Chancelloress that then went on to victory in Florida this year as part of the Captive 1 series. Been really coming into their own. It could be a very hot property as part of Major League this year. Paul, of course, part of that eye candy team that I mentioned a little bit earlier on, the champions last year, and him coming out as the leading rider there too. Similar look to that team this year with Amy Miller, Connor Swale, Daniel Coyle, Dylan Daly onto the squad this time alongside Jacqueline Steffens. And we'll be taking us on to Hunter Holloway now. Hunter had a terrific run in the World Cups last year. Peter Conspita, 11-year-old Westphalian from DSP Conspirit. Also went through to the World Cup finals in Leipzig. And to clear through that first phase, just cruising at the moment through the double at 7. Again, not too many related distances here in this competition. Just a chance to give them a nice cruise around as they disappear behind the trees at this stage. Four stride distance just gives a little roll to the black and gold. Again, if they're not chasing the time, which many with this class won't be, you can go and take a wide run back to this finishing loop. And giving us space to the finish. Hunt Holloway and Pepita Conspita, 56.97, a little steadier there with the one fence down. Goes into 5th place at the moment. Paul O'Shea, just go back to him. 5 time for him that they had into that second phase at 57.88. So it was a total of 9 overall. Vanessa Hood now, another new face onto Major League Jumping this year. Vanessa from Wellington, Florida, with Navarre, 9-year-old Bitonics from just nice Van Het in de Hof. Belgian-bred ride for Vanessa, who put plenty of wins together in Wellington, Florida this year as well. Part of the Lugano team. And has trained with the likes of Ken Farrington, that also will be on that team, as I mentioned. Vanessa teaming up with Carly Fairty. Was Canadian rider, US rider Hilary McNerney. Natalie Dean and Canada's Erin Ballard. Heavy rub coming into that double. Vanessa, one that could be really suited to the team competition, has got lots of pace for those that have seen her previously in the likes of the high amateurs, as well as coming through to the FEI classes. Could be a good team asset added to the roster this year. It's a 9-year-old for her. A couple of more established rides in her string as well. Clear through the first, clear through the second phase 2, 51.45, and takes her into second place at the moment. Ken Farrington keeping that lead. Logano with the first and second spots at this stage. Relaxing on the grass. Lovely afternoon. Not quite as warm as that might would suggest, but it's very pleasant. A little bit of breeze, as you can see from the flags. And about to come into view is Rowan Willis with the 11-year-old Wellington Grey Goose. Horse that came from the UK for Rowan, based now in the US. It's been a large part of his career in Great Britain. The Australian rider who's ridden through to World Championships for Australia. Blue Movie is top ride for that also. Will be here with us this week. This one that's been really coming through. 1 2-star Grand Prix this season and now starting to step up into this 5-star. Rowan just giving a little pat. I think he's going to raise his hands. And deciding to retire there for Rowan Willis and Wellington Grey Goose. Kelly shot now for the Southern Archers. Carlo 454, the 11-year-old by Contagas. And another who's going to be a part of the teams this year for the first time. Part of the Crusaders team. Many will remember those following last year how close the Crusaders took the likes of the team for Eye Candy. New look to this team as well this year. It has the great Beezy Madden on the roster, which is great to see. Hunter Holloway, that we've already seen. Nick Delajoyo is also in the reckoning. Callie Schott and alongside Catherine Strauss will be making up the Crusaders. So a very different look to the Crusaders squad this year. 8 teams in total. Let's run down those names for you. Eye Candy. Helios. New name. Few familiar faces though. Trailblazers. Spyco Spies. Roadrunners, Crusaders, Northern Lights, which has a very strong Canadian flavour, and Logano Diamonds team. Of course, championship winners last year were Eye Candy on 80. Crusaders were closest to them on the 60 points, and AIM United after that. Shan't confuse you with too much of going back on last year's teams, but more about what is happening with this year's. Carlo from Gina Baloo, the German bred horse for Callie. Takes the inside line there. Step up for her this year. Just hops the last. 48.91 from Callie. And we'll put her into second place at the moment. Ken Farrington leading the way on 44.8. Callie Shot in second. Vanessa Hood in third. Patricio Pascal for Mexico will be the next. Had a very good Mexico City show a few weeks ago. Part of the World Championships in 2018 with this horse, Babel. 15-year-old by Billy DeLee from Mexico bred, back to the lines of High Flyer. Silver medalist also with Babel in the Pan Am Games in Lima in 2019. So good class winner in Mexico City, also part of the team for Mexico in Jalapa in the Nations Cup there. Could certainly be one to look out for this week. Just has to try and steady up down to that fence. The horses having made their way up from Mexico up to here in Vancouver for these shows, then many that will stay on then for the shows at Spruce Meadows. And he puts his hand up and retires. Patricio Pascal and Babel, the 15-year-old, nothing to prove there. Happy enough. Kaylin Campbell now was a familiar face last year on Major League Jumping. Fayon, the 12-year-old Dutch-bred horse from Zazu R, back to the breeding of Ramona for the Dutch-bred ride for Caitlin. Now based here on the West Coast. Saw her into action in the team and individual runs last year. Caitlin Campbell, part of the Roadrunners team. A little bit of shake-up into this team as well this year, with Alberto Michan, Alexis Sokolov, Kristen van der Veen, Caitlin Campbell and Kyle King. Kyle, remember, was one of the stars of last year's competitions, having finished on the podium in the Grand Prix as well. Fayon was one that was really developing over these big courses in 2021. Again, this first course designed to just let them really stretch out on this arena. Nothing for too much adjustment required. And she's going to raise her hand as well. And Nikki Gallagher now. Mayan de la Jodez, the 9-year-old for Nikki. Nikki will have probably caught your eye as part of his very good performances last year with Grand Prix wins at the Desert Horse Park. Of course, that's going to be the final two stages of Major League this year. Once again, looking forward to that. Grass Arena and then under the lights for the final stage. Nikki also finishing well in the Grand Prix at Greenwich last year too. But now really building up the string. Nicky giving this horse a good opportunity. Tight around the water jump. Looking to give themselves a little test out for what lies await this week. Has that final fence down, unfortunately. Of course, Jarvis Miss Jordan has been his leading ride throughout. It's a new ride for him, in fact. Just jumped in Old Salem a few weeks ago on this 9-year-old, and this is whether their second show, a horse that was originally out of France. Nicky Gallagher also going to be a part of the teams this year, and will be another very good addition throughout. Ken Farrington keeping the lead at the moment. Nicky Gallagher there going with the one fence down into 5th place so far. Gives me a chance to as well introduce you to the Trailblazers, which Nicky is a part of. Nicky Gallagher alongside Daniel Blumen, Emma Marlowe and Chandler Meadows. Jessica Mendoza, she's going to be a real rocket to have in the team alongside Cara Rather Carey this year. Another one who, of course, shook up the team a lot, is already up in the world's top 10, is going to be our next, which is Connor Swale, Nadal Hero and DB, the 9-year-old Belgian bred horse by Cannon for Connor. Picked off those wins neatly throughout the season. Just giving up a nice pace to get them in the groove for the week. Connor, Thunderbird, always been a happy hunting ground for him. Won the World Cup qualifier here last year as well. A really solid performer, as we've seen throughout all the time. And Swale home. Swale going to be a part of the Eye Candy team this year. And I won't talk about secret weapons because each one of them there in that team is a very much not secret weapon. They're all very strong riders amongst them, so looking forward to see how they get on this year. I think might face a little more stiff opposition from the rest of the strengthening teams throughout. Canadian Hyde Moffat, Gisborne VDL, the 11-year-old Dutchman ride by VDL Zorocco Blue, owned by Ariel Grange. Canadian rider part of the stable alongside Daniel Coyle, riding for the Canadian Grange family. Super supporters of the sport here north of the border. Again, plenty of space down there. They just really ride that one off their eye. Not going to stick too hard to a set pattern. Nice, cool, calm roll around the corner. On his line to get the inside turn. Ken Farrington keeping the lead so far, as say, in this opening class of the week. Good chance to get your eye on some of the combinations that we're going to see. And there we go, 51.49. Going clear across the both faces into 5th place so far for Hyde Moffat and Gisborne VDL. And Paul O'Shea, Hellcat, for the eye candy jumper. Second ride for Paul here. Hellcat last year getting a little bit more experience in the big classes. Paul, as we've already seen on Chancelloress. Quick spin back in for him. And going back out again. Short but sweet. Not quite sure what the plan was there, but anyway. Step out to the arena, have a little turn around, and for whatever reason has said, think we'll stop there. So the score will be with his early ride of Chancelloress. Connor Swale, we saw as a new leader at 40.5. Nettle Hero and DB on the 9-year-old taking over the lead from Kent Farrington at Chateau Lou. Callie Shott in third with Carlo, fourth to Vanessa Hood so far in 51.45. Hyde Moffat we saw going into fifth place, but Connor Swale, your new leader, confirmed that at 40.5. Kent Farrington 44.8. Carl Cook now. And Carl with Coachella for the 10-year-old Olderberg by Christian 25 for the breeding of Last Liberty 2. Carl, who made several appearances as part of teams last year, being brought in for the wings, but this year making a permanent appearance on the teams as well. Going to be part of the Team Helios, as it's named this year. Carl Cook alongside Mark Blumen, Simon McCarthy, Eugenio Garza, Bliss Hears and Ashley Bond. Looks a strong group. Carl, another, of course, who's a regular here at the Thunderbird Show Park, has won World Cups here before now with Caillou. Coachella now really stepping up nicely into this 5-star level. Got some good experience throughout the winter in Florida. A little bit of a cooler day, but pleasant day here in Langley. It's just a light jacket day. There we go, and it's clear there for Carl, going nicely for them. Just to say, just really getting their feet under the table for the week. Cool and calm, and going into fourth place at the moment on 51.12. Swinging in with plenty of vibrancy, and unfortunately a fence down there is Nalu Quality and Sam Walker for the young Canadian 9-year-old Belgian bred by Numero Uno. Sam with a number of new horses in the lineup for this year, of course alongside the well-established likes of Evita, Emelian as well that we saw last year with Sam. This one with plenty to go. Belgian bred from the breeding of Numero Uno and Shakira. Just on that early rail then on the 4. Spent much of the winter in Florida building some new partnerships up as part of the team. And there we go, crosses the line. And Sam Walker will go clear in 45.42. It clear in the second phase, 4 in the first, of course. And that will put them into 9th place at the moment.
Here we go now with entry number 1014. Nicholas Pizarro Suarez Martinez joins us with Via Contra.
Nick Pizarro, Pia Contra, 11-year-old for the Mexican rider from the breeding of Pia Blue, Chaco Blue. Nick, one of the well-established riders for Mexico, right up to Olympic level. Again, went really solidly in the last few weeks, including in Mexico City. Opens up over that fence and really tries to get the horse working underneath him for the next. Again, good opportunity to get them off and running. Good athletic jump over as they make the changeover. Nick Pizarro, part of the 5-star this week, riding for Mexico. So let's just remind you, 8 teams to be here on Saturday, late afternoon here. 5 o'clock start for Major League team jumping, then Sunday the Grand Prix as well. And 46-43. Music comes up for a clear. Nicholas Pizarro, Pia Contra. 11-year-old by Contagas. Goes into 3rd so far. Connor Swell keeps the lead. Nadal Hero and DB. Ken Farrington and Chateau Lou in 2nd place at the moment. Alberto Michin. Nabar de Trevera. 12-year-old by Nabar de Rev for the Spanish-bred ride. For the 12-year-old mare for Avi Michin. Another well-established star on the circuit. Part of the Roadrunners team this year. So he'll be joining likes of Kristen Van der Veen and Kyle King as part of the team there. Their home run at the Desert International Horse Park, the final 2 stages. As a regular competitor there himself, now based that way. Rides internationally for Israel. Good economic turnaround to the final couple of fences. And unfortunately puts the toe on the last. And so leaves them with the 4:41.59. Time was pretty good. And would have otherwise got into 2nd place, but a final fence down for Alberto Michin and Nabar de Trevera. In case you're not sure, it is Major League show jumping week here in Vancouver. Quiet afternoon, but it is a steady day to get them into the week. As I say, this opening warm-up class essentially for the riders and horses, of course. And then we certainly get into the real teeth of the big competition tomorrow with the 5-star jump-off class tomorrow afternoon. 5-star speed before that around lunchtime, and the Grand Prix qualifier for the 2-star in the morning. Saturday sees the team competition as the last class, 2-star Grand Prix in the afternoon, team competition at 5. And then on Sunday, winning round for the 5-star, usually late morning, and then Grand Prix early afternoon for those competing here this week in Vancouver, here at Thunderbird. Vanessa Mannix, regular visitor here to Thunderbird too, the Canadian rider with Kingston, 9-year-old by Ustinov. British bred ride for Vanessa, the Canadian, based near Calgary, although has always had a very global career. He is going to be part of the Northern Lights. Darren Lynn, Taylor Saint-Jacques, Sean Jobin, Vanessa Mannix, and also Sam Walker on the team there. So it gives the Canadians a team to be cheering on. It's going to be 3 stages in Canada. Here, Angelstone, and also then to Ottawa in the latter part of August. Toronto and Ottawa following back-to-back. And staying clear and into 5th place so far for Vanessa Mannix and the 9-year-old Kingston. Giving the illusion of a chilled, relaxed showground there. Actually, the behind is a very busy showground indeed, which is great to see. Packed rings in all directions, not just this arena, of course. Very busy across the whole of the grounds. Chris Pack and the Tidball family, as ever, running a top-class event. Ben Aslin, Luke and Q for the Canadian. Another one very familiar with the venue here at T-Bird. 13-year-old, again British bred on the Anglo-European stud book, was by Luidam. And out of a mare Camina, which was by Cannon. For the rider who's also been a part of Canadian teams before now, including through to Nations Cup final. Luke and Q been with him for a little while now, since 2020. Former rider of Swedish rider Angeli von Essen and the Swedish rider who was part of some big shows, but based actually in the UK over the last few weeks. Angeli rode the horse on Nations Cups, including at Hickstead. Ben build up a solid partnership with this horse, riding in the 5 stars on literally home ground at Spruce Meadows. Sees him on a double clear as well. 2-phase special, so they'll ride both phases. 48.34 is the time. Puts them into 4th place at the moment. Tanner Karolka now, President Van Kuchhoff. 9-year-old again. Belgian bred by President. For the breeding of Cicero. Time to get up and get on with the day. Thunderbird already always very good at drawing the crowds, and over the weekend we'll be seeing some pack stands here for the 5-star. Tanner, who's been part of the stable now for a season or so, under the watchful eye of Shane Sweetnam. It's ridden already now onto Nations Cup team for the USA. Part of the Spy Coast Spies, which is the Sweetnam team. So Tanner joining alongside a little bit of an Irish feel to some of it, with two Irishmen in there with Shane Sweetnam and Jordan Coyle. But alongside Ashley Vogel, Lacey Gilbertson and Margie Engel for the red, white and blue. And he's giving it a good spin back to the Major League vertical. Tanner just giving them a bit of match practice. And a good round overall. Goes clear there, 38.65. And we'll put them in the number one spot, not unsurprisingly, for the Canadian. So taking over from Ireland's Connor Swale. Takes another couple of seconds off the lead. Tanner Karotkin in the lead now, 38.65. Swale in second, Connor Swale on 40.5. And Ken Farrington now in third with Chatterloo on 44.8. Catherine Strauss, Cincinnati Kids 7. On the team for the Crusaders. Trains under the watchfly of Olympic gold medalist Beezy Madden. Catherine already been through Youth Nations Cups as well for her. Cincinnati Kid, a 10-year-old by Claramo. German bred, going back to Carpaccio. Real use of the back end over those line of fences on the furthest side of the arena away from the entrance. Now brings everything back together. Just getting on a nice bouncing rhythm. Just keeping it nice and tidy down to the last. To the show plus Oxer. And we'll see them at 51.63. A little steadier into that second phase there for Catherine Strauss. Cincinnati Kid just outside the top 10 into 11th place. Horses and dogs out for a walk. And out for a stroll as well is a horse that should cope with this well too, is Cornet's Cambridge. 10-year-old by Belou de Rafonton, which of course is the very good horse now ridden by Brian Mowgray. It's the next generation. And actually was WEF Challenge Cup winner. Big class winner on more than one occasion down in Wellington this year. Goes back to the mare was Chantal, which was by Cambridge. Nick De La Joyo, part of the Crusaders team this year for the first time. Horse with plenty of scope and ability, as it's proved in the early part of this year. And it's already starting to really show that potential at the end of last year too. It just quietened things down here. Easy four-stride distance again. Not too many tests in this competition, more about them getting match fit for the rest of the week. Big jump over the last. And for them, it sees them with 1 time fault in this second phase. 4 in the first, 5 in total at 53.74. 5 for Nick De La Joyo and Cornets Cambridge. One to watch out for, though, this season. Daniel Coyle, one you barely take your eye off because he would very easily steal a class from you. It is Oak Grove's Carlisle, because the man has a fantastic turn of speed. Here just coming quietly, though, to get them into the week. Oak Grove's Carlisle, the Holsteiner by Casal. One that came from Ron Doubledam. Part of the eye candy team this year for the Irishman. Out of Roma. Daniel not taking too much out of the tank in this class. And going to be very hard to look past the eye candy team with Daniel Coyle in there. Real lineup of speed with Connor Swale and Amy Miller. As we saw, he was so consistent last year as well. Paul O'Shea, of course, coach for the team. Headed up by Erica Hatfield as team manager. Nice efficient turn around the corner. And just leaving them with the last to be cleared, and it's clear at 42.06 for Oak Grove's Carlisle, and Daniel Coyle keeping the powder dry for the rest of the week. Goes into third place so far, and they do that with ease. Plenty more, I'm sure, to come for that pair throughout the week. 85 in total in this welcome 145 star. Two-phase special. So if you're nearby, come and join us over the weekend. 2 big weeks here at Thunderbird, but Saturday and Sunday here this week, the team class into the late afternoon. And so then Sunday with the Grand Prix here as well, as part of the 5-star week for Major League Jumping. And local face here to Thunderbird, Tully de Jong. And now for the young rider, 22 years of age. Competed in the Young Rider Championships back in 2018. Valiant to Bellevue, 13-year-old by Colin de Plessis. French-bred ride out of Foxin. Started the season out in Thermal. In fact, was competing both in California and in Spain last year. Was in the 2-star with us as part of Major League Jumping shows in December at the Desert Horse Park. Fabulous facility as the group there have developed over the last couple of years now. Massive refurbishment that they've made there and continued development plans. Tali moving up into the 5-star this week, as I say, after those 2-star appearances last year. And looks like they'll keep a clean sheet. It is clear in 46.87. Good dip of the toe into this level for them, into their first 5-star for Tali. Of course, we're still riding onto the young rider teams. Just in last year, part of the Nations Cup final team, in fact, for young riders. That was over in the Netherlands.
Our next entry in will be our final entry before the first scheduled drags in our warm-up range of this two-phase competition. Welcome now number 751, Shane Sweetnam in the second round underneath Hollywood.
Shane Sweetnam back again then with Hollywood this time. 10-year-old chestnut man. Touch bred by Nabab Dorev out of Diva. Shane, as I say, will be captaining the Spyco Spies. World Championship rider. European gold medalist. Grand Prix winner just a few weeks ago in Lexington. Middle part of May there. Or less than 2 weeks ago now. I was with Alejandro. Hollywood been getting more experience throughout Wellington and Florida this year as well as a new horse to this level. A horse that came from the Netherlands last year from Mel Tyson. Just been so far jumping. Did jump into the 5 stars in Wellington back in February. There's a good bit of experience for them. Shane, like many, with a new group of horses on the bubble for that 5-star level this year. And should give him some nice firepower to go into the season. Keeps the pace at a steadier one this time at 52.99. Going clear in both phases for Shane Sweetnam and Hollywood, going to 15th position at this point. And so I think we're just taking a little break here as they drag the warm-up arena. Of course, we're on grass. There's not a lot we're going to be doing to that surface. But this beautiful grass arena will be playing host for all the 5-star jumping here this week. And, of course, the 2 stars as well that we'll see in this wonderful Fort Arena. And it is going to be Tanaka Rock in the lead so far with that President. Double clear from them, 38.65. Connor Swell in second, the Irishman with Nadal Hero and DB. And third for Ireland 2 with Daniel Coyle and Groves Carlisle. Back in a few minutes. As I say, this is the opening salvo for those of the week. Really a warm-up opportunity for those big 5 stars, but also gives us a chance to see a few of the horses and riders competing here throughout the week.
I'm Danielle Toronto, and we are customers of Marshall and Sterling. They have been amazing for us, for our business. They take care of our farm, our horses, our cars. It's basically one-stop shopping for us.
I'm Jimmy Toronto. Unfortunately, we've actually had to really use Marshall and Sterling for horse death And I have to say that Marshall & Sterling has been an amazing, amazing company. They have taken care of things. It's been worry-free. The person we deal with, Missy, she takes it all upon herself. Once we go to her with the claim, she does it all for us. And I have to say, since we've been with Marshall & Sterling, I just can't think of going anywhere else. I put all my trust, all my faith in them.
When every second counts, the surface matters. Premier Equestrian features Pro-Tex footing product and auto sport base mats. Mats absorb up to 40% of the concussion. Pro-Tex provides maximum stability. Premier Equestrian is the official footing partner of Major League Show Jumping. Contact us about your arena at premierequestrian.com.
The beauty, power, and elegance of warm blood horses is no accident. A history of carefully crafted breeding practices that walk the delicate line of art and science has created a horse that is as strong as it is graceful, so that it may successfully compete at the most elite level in equine sports. Breeders can access an American Stallion station that provides both fresh chilled and frozen semen options with full transparency on semen quality. Set on 800 acres of Lexington, Kentucky bluegrass, Spy Coast Farm is revolutionizing the breeding practices of warm blood horses. World-renowned stallions with proven bloodlines that have successfully competed at the top level of international Grand Prix sport are collected by a resident veterinarian and processed promptly for shipment to a domestic breeder for a timely insemination of their ovulating mare. The experts at Spy Coast Farm are determined to improve your U.S. breeding options by taking the guesswork out of semen quality.
Audlin Brown is a proud sponsor of Thunderbird Show Park. Through our long-standing partnership with Thunderbird, we have seen firsthand the incredible impact of their events for competitors, spectators, and the community as a whole. At Audlin Brown, we invest in our clients' futures and in the communities where our clients and team members live and work. Community involvement is in our firm's DNA. It was part of our founder's vision nearly 100 years ago and remains a core value of Audlin Brown today. Our team members are passionate about supporting their communities, and they give back in a variety of ways. As a firm, we are proud to partner with organizations like Thunderbird Show Park that share our commitment to making an impact on our community now and for generations.
Integrity, caring, agility, collaboration. Every day, our people go to work delivering inspired solutions in structures and logistics, electricity, natural gas, retail energy, and ports and transportation to homes, businesses, and communities around the world. Find out more at atco.com.
And getting set to return into this opening class for the 5-star here this week. The 140 Welcome 5-star special 2-phase. And it has been an opportunity to see a number of the equine and rider talent that we've got on offer this week as part of Major League Jumping. 2-phase special. And as I say, really good warm-up opportunity for those here this week, but gives you an idea of what a stellar field that we have for the classes coming up over the next few days. Reminder as well, and I'm going to keep reminding you, tomorrow afternoon, big class there for you in the 5 stars. We're looking forward to that one. And Friday going to be a jump-off class. Also going to see a speed before that as well. And then on Saturday, 2-star Grand Prix followed by the team event, 5 o'clock for the team event here on Saturday. Sunday sees for the 5 stars of the winning round and 5-star Grand Prix into the afternoon. Looking like that'll be a 2 o'clock start for that, but keep an eye, if you haven't already downloaded it, head along to Major League Jumping in the App Store and download the app. It will give you all the information you need, who's on the teams, how is it happening, when is it happening, and all the fun information like that. And scores and results as we go, so you can keep up with your favourite riders and favourite horses throughout and see how they are faring. A man who's fared very well on the global stage is going to be coming up next as our cameras swing it on in. And it should be Kent Farrington getting us back underway. Yes, it is. Kent with the Orofina, the 10-year-old Dutch-bred horse, the mare by For Fashion. And that's by Cantarano. Well, the mare was by Cantarano, which is Corofina, which was the mother of Orofina. Again, been featuring well in Florida in preparation for a big new year for Kent Farrington. Really coming in with a long string of very good horses coming up to the new 5-star level for him, coming to start to take over as the new young stars for him. Orofina, Grand Prix winner in Wellington in 3-star a few weeks ago as well, one of the first of those Grand Prix classes. Again, new face on to Major League Jumping, but definitely not a new face on World Show Jumping. Well established top rider, also due to be part of the US squad here next week as part of the Nations Cup Jumping. Orofina, horse that came from Sanne Tyson of the Netherlands. For that, Kevin Jochims, the Dutch rider as well. Both of those riders that have won 5-star Grand Prix themselves. Kent taking it pretty steady in the first round, 48.51. Sees them get some time faults there with that time allowed of 42 in the opening stage, so that will take to the 7 time faults for phase 1. But that's not the worry today. Getting right out on the curve to get a smooth run to the last and leave them with 1 time fault in the second phase. 53.55, total of 8 for them, but nothing to lose sleep about. Those are all on the clock and nicely around for them too. So Kent Farrington finishing on a total of 8, all of them for time. Takes on to Hunter Holloway. Belobnechan, the 11-year-old by Winning Mood, the Saint Francais for Hunter. Again, another one with a new equine face this week. Of course, we saw Pepita Conspita a little bit earlier on. It's a new ride for her. into the FEI classes. So she was part of the US contingent at the recent World Cup finals. Good start to the season, mainly in Ocala. Just on the 4 in phase 1 for Hunter. Pepita Conspita, of course, her winning World Cup ride in Las Vegas last year. And Grand Prix winner in trial. Just a little bit of rain in the air now, and horse well in the air over the last. Clear 51.56 in phase 2, 4 in phase 1 at 38.53 for Hunter Holloway and Belobe de Chan for the rider part of the Crusaders team this year. You can see just on the camera here, unfortunately, a little bit of the wet stuff just starting to come down now. Still a little bit of a spring feel about everything. Hopefully not going to be too much of a feature of the week. Callie's shot. Looks like we're going over to next. And Charlie, 14-year-old by Chaco Blue. Love it when they have a nice easy name. Callie under the Southern Archers banner. This one by Chaco Blue out of Shakira Z, which was by Charlie Z. So you can see where we get that all together. Charlie having jumped in 2-star classes earlier on this year, but also in 4 stars too in Wellington, Florida. Former rider of Lorcan Gallagher of Ireland, in fact, here in the US. Winalden before that too. A little while back for that one, back to about 2017. Callie teaming up with this horse actually back in 2020. But of course, it's been an interrupted season and over the last couple of years, but actually jumped in 2020, jumped a little bit last year, and now coming back with that kick-off in Wellington, finished well in the 2 stars before moving into the 4s. And decided to retire this time. You'll see, unfortunately, an increase in the precipitation. And, well, a man who can always bring the heat is Rowan Willis of Australia. Blue Movie, now 16 years of age, this fabulous horse. Quirky as she is, she's always been a super talent by Chaco Blue. And back to Showtime, which was a top ride of Nick Skelton, owned by the Welshes, Sue Welsh, who rode for a number of years, Sue and Fred Welsh, who were both international riders themselves. That was back in Great Britain. Blue Movie, Carrots can come out and do a bit of everything, but is very, very capable of winning a big Class of 1 Nations Cup Grand Prix before now. Went brilliantly at the World Championships in 2018. Can be another weapon to watch out for. And Rowan looking as though they're going to come home on the clear, give themselves some space to the last. 51.79, not looking to go too deeply into the well this time for them. But just nice setup for the week, just a little spin around to blow off the cobwebs. Let's remind you the scoreboard as it stands. Tanner Karotkin at the top of it at 35.84. Connor Swell in second, 36.74. And Daniel Coyle in third, 42.06. So those times in phase 2. Vanessa Hood now. Second ride for Vanessa. Lulu VLS. This is the 11-year-old that we've seen her on a more regular basis into the big classes. She actually rode the World Cup finals back in 2002. Castelretto is another ride of hers. We've seen feature quite a few times. Actually rode this horse last year in Traverse City as part of the Major League Jumping there. Actually, that was their last FEI outing. It was a horse that was ridden by Yuri Mansour of Brazil. As we saw from their performances last year, very capable of turning on the pace, and she's got a good wide string of horses, about 5 or 6 probably horses at this level now that she can really go into battle with, which will be interesting to see this year. The US rider, 45.56, top 5 for Vanessa Hood and Lulu VLS, part of that Lugano team, alongside Ken Farrington. Coats on now, I'm afraid. Patrizio Pascal, Cozumel. Second ride for him, sorry, earlier on with Babel, and another 9-year-old now. He's had a very solid group of results, including a good 5-star win down in Mexico. Making their way up for the Canadian shows over the coming months here. And the rain coming with intensity now. Music goes up as they pick up onto the clear, and it's at 40.84. We'll put them into our higher group. Goes into third place there for Patricio Pascal, and Cozumel goes ahead of Daniel Coyle, so moves that Coyle down into fourth place for the Eye Candy team, the Irishman. Eye Candy's Connor Swell in second so far. Tanner Karotkin and President still leading on 38.65. Caitlin Campbell, Armentos, second ride for Caitlin now. This 11-year-old by Armitage 2. The Oldenburg for the West Coast rider. Mentos, another one that jumped in Florida, as did many, of course, based down there for the winter. Started off in Thermal at Carla after that, and a couple of appearances in Wellington through the 3 stars. Did make 1 appearance in the 5-star classes. And again, reminder, going to be part of the Roadrunners team. On the clear, 45-14 for Caitlin Campbell. Mentos. Roadrunners want to watch out for some new faces. The young Alexis Sokolov coming into the team there. Alberto Merchant brings the experience. Caitlin Campbell and, well, Kyle King, a star of last year as well, onto that squad this year too. Horses don't seem too perturbed by the wet weather at the moment. Hopefully not too much of a feature of the next couple of weeks. But a man that will be is Nicky Gallagher, and he's his own ray of sunshine. Jarvis Miss Jordan, 13-year-old Irish bred by Luidam. Out of Ali Angel, which was from the Irish breeding of OBOS quality. Grand Prix winners down in Thermal before now. Finished well last year. This has been his top horse now for Nicky, who's really been making a good impression so far for the Irish rider. Part of the Trailblazers team that I mentioned. Going to be alongside the likes of Jessica Mendoza, Chandler Meadows, Emma Marlowe, Cara Thakari. That one's, it really is quite very strong across the board now. Going to be hard to pick through, and I don't think it's going to be quite the route that the Eye Candy team were able to take last year. Jarvis Miss Jordan really solidly through Thermal at the start of the year. Unfortunately, had to take a break from the shows there. The shows themselves having to take time out. It would be good to see the Desert Horse Park back on the agenda as it is now, through no fault of their own. Wonderful setup, as I say. If you get a chance to head down there over on the west coast, fantastic venue. Of course, we'll be heading there as well to the Desert Horse Park, not too far from Palm Springs. That'll be in December. Really solid pairing. And part of the teams in Thermal, as we saw in December last year for Jarvis Miss Magic and Nicky Gallagher. Now a regular part of the teams. Nicky there going in our top 20 to finish with a 2-time in phase 2. Connor Swale, Theo 160. Holsteiner by Christian 25. One from the Philip Hart's team. It's the Belgian family that have been such a big part of the sport, with father, of course, his great successes on the likes of Darko. And the mantle carried forward, although father's still riding. Ludo. Olivier and Nicola, well established. And Connor Swale, of course, well established now as part of the world's top 10. Recent winner of the Invitational in Kentucky. But with a long list of good success stories as part of Major League Jumping last year. Alongside his several World Cup wins. She rode this horse as part of the Major League to finish One in the first week at Thermal last year too. And gets over 2 time faults this time, 54-0. 2 there for Theo 160 and Connor Swale. Looks like the rain may have eased just a little. Hein Moffat now, the Canadian with the Quinton. 12-year-old Dutch bred by Caprice Boamago. Back to the breeding of Emilio of the Netherlands. Another one for the Ariel Grange team. Who had a good appearance in the World Cup in Ocala earlier this year, finishing 6th place there with Gisborne VDL. And a little bit of a break before coming into these shows. Last FEI appearance in March. Through the show plus finale, and again music goes up because it is another of the clears. Hein Moffat going into 13th position for the Canadian. 50.28 his time in the second phase. Clear across both phases. Carl Cook, Kalinka van Zugvliet. 12-year-old mare by België. The breeding of Thunder van de Zoethoven. It's Belgian bred and by Thunder van de Zoethoven. To the mare Gold Fee van Zugvliet. And this one had a very good run down in Florida as well. Finished placed in the 5 stars there. A couple of top 3 finishes actually coming into the final week on the turf there. And also national success for Carl Cook. Former ride of Lorenzo De Luca of Italy and came from the Stefex stables. Unekberg too. And so I think Carl going to call it a day there with Kalinka. Sam Walker now, the Canadian. Dreamin' Blue. Another of the new ones to this level. 9-year-olds by Upsodeno. That was out of the mare Mache de Helbert. A French bred ride for the Canadian. So expecting plenty of Canadian sport for Northern Lights. Here this week, Show Plus Northern Lights team. Sam Walker alongside Vanessa Mannix, Taylor Saint-Jacques, Sean Jobin, Darren Glynn, all of the Canadians on that Northern Lights team. Sam now 20 years of age. Came through young riders with Coralisa. Dreaming Blue jumping in the U25s this year down in Wellington back in February. That was their only FEI appearance. Has been really concentrating on bringing these horses through the national classes quietly and ready for the big time. New horse, and this week definitely the biggest courses they've jumped so far. But looking like they're ready to settle into this level. Dreaming Blue, the 9-year-old for Sam Walker. 44.90, giving them 3 time from a little bit earlier on. 44.90. In fact, giving them the clear. Let's just correct that time because that just changed on. 44.90 clear, and across clear both faces for Dreaming Blue, and for Sam Walker. Then a little adjustment, and that will take them a little bit further up the order. Goes into 6th place. Good start for them. 42 their time in the first phase. 44.9 in the second. Nick Pizarro back again now. Santa Rosa Yalsa on the Mexican 10-year-old as our 40th of the order. Nick, as I mentioned, well-established rider right the way through to Olympic level. Santa Rosa Yalsa making a few more appearances in the last few weeks, including down to San Miguel de Allende, of course, which is going to be one of the venues later on into the year for Major League Jumping. That's going to be right at the other end of the year, into October. Nick on this about 5th, 6th appearance with this horse. Ride 2 previously of Daniel Pedraza, Littlewood of Mexico. Previously having just jumped at 2-star level with this one. Not too much trouble at all. A little bit of a cheer from the floor. And going clear in 45.37 for Nicholas Pizarro, Santa Rosa Yalsa. Going inside the top 10 into 8th place at this stage. Alberto Micha now, part of the Roadrunners team for the Israeli rider, the 10-year-old Dutch-bred horse by Untouched. This is Hot Spot for the breeding of New York out of Universe. Twice competitor at the Olympic Games previously. In fact, 3 times, including Tokyo last year. Having headed to those games. Hot Spot, new one into the FEI ranks as well. Just getting a more settled jump over the vertical. And leaving them on the 4 faults. 40.54. On the 4 for Alberto Micha and Hotspot.
Vanessa Mannix going to be in this time right here. Katinka 25, number 573. Through it.
Growing number. Take advantage of the fine grasses. Although I think a few decided that the rain's getting a little heavier. Vanessa Mannix, Katinka 25, a long-time partner, 13-year-old Olderberg by Katoki. German bred for the Canadian rider. I mentioned also part of that Show Plus team. Northern Lights. Vanessa been well placed in World Cups before now. Here, including here in Thunderbirds. In fact, finished second in the World Cup qualifier here on this horse this time last year behind Connor Swell, who's been a long-time trainer. Then went on to a top 10 finish in Vegas. Getting a little scuttle on down to the last. Gathers the energy back underneath them. And so we'll finish with a nice round. Just unfortunately a rail for them. Vanessa Mannix and Katinka 25. 50.80 time in the second phase for Vanessa. Ben Aslan now, the Canadian Baton Rouge. 11-year-old gelding by Banderas. Total touch. Baton Rouge a little more experienced, but only having competed in the 4 stars with Ben this year, previously competing through to 5-star level, in fact on the Nations Cup with Samantha Beers for the Canadians in Spruce Meadows last year on the Canadian squad there. Just dragging off the rail at 7 going into the double. Easy 4 now, easing down. Just concentrating on the setup. And we'll leave them with the rail down at 49.87 for Ben Aslan and Baton Rouge for the Canadian. Top 30. But let's remind you who's in number 1 position. Tanaka Rockin still there with the President on the 9-year-old President, the leading ride at 38.65. Connor Swell in second on 40.5. Patricio Pascal and Cozumel in third on 40.84. And leads us nicely into Tanaka Rockin once again. Ideal is the ride. He's in the ideal position at the moment as he leads. And gets another shot now with the 10-year-old by Cardento, Swedish bred, out of Pasquit, which was by Cortez. Down another one of the younger riders last year who could make a good impression. Certainly gives to the older riders a run for the money, putting them under pressure now. Kroc and Ideal building up a good partnership now, having put wins together in the U25s down in Wellington this year. His former Shane Sweetnam ride, of course, riding with the Sweetnam stable. First 5-star together for Tanner. And this was actually, I take that back, they did jump in one of the 5 stars in Wellington, just in one of the 2-phase classes there. And then just going on for the 4 in a table A2. So had one spin in the 5-star. Tanner still 20 years of age, 21 this year. And it's a rather damp conclusion, but not a damp score of the score. It is clear. 52-57 going clear across both phases for Tanner Kroc and Ideal. Somewhat steadier this time as they go into 21st, but he keeps the lead for his earlier rise. Bliss Hears now. Bliss back with the second ride too. And so this is Goodbye. In fact, was down with Antidote a little bit earlier on. Didn't think we saw that one actually. So it is Bliss Hears Goodbye on this 11-year-old mare, Dutch bred by Eldorado out of Rivella Light. So we saw on the podium last year in the Grand Prix in San Miguel, the first of the Mexican stages of the series. Goodbye finishing well and a good spin for them. Going clear at 48.58 into 13th place for Bliss Hears. And Goodbye. Goodbye and out of the rain. Catherine Strauss back, this time with the 12-year-old Fairfield. Dutch bred ride by VDL Zorocco Blue, the gelding out of Burkina Field, which was by Chin Chin. For the 23-year-old, he's been training with the Madden team, John and Beasy, former rider of Sophie Hinners of Germany, the French Stuttgart of the Netherlands previous to that. Come through solidly in the 2 and 3 stars in Wellington. Good top 5 finish in those. Now stepping up to another level here this week. Partnership that started off this year. And a good establishing run for them. And going clear in 49.20, 15th position at the moment. For the riders going to be part of the Crusaders team this week. Catherine Strauss and Fairfield on their squad. Fellow Crusader will be Nick Delajoyo on chess, who will come into view in just a moment. Warming up on a cool down day. Steady wetness at the moment. Couple out on a hack. And I don't think going to be going racing either yet is Nick with chess with this very good horse with lots of scope. The 11-year-old Belgian bred by Bufero van Hesse Panishoff. Former Kent Farrington ride. Placed neatly recently in Kentucky. The Grand Prix there. Of course, it came from the Hendrixes back in 2020. It was a brief spell with Kent Farrington before heading to the Delajoyo stable last year in this. And going to be 8 faults. Those two fences in that related line on the 4-stride distance for Delajoyo and Chess this time, 48.10. And on the 8. Greenery well come out now as spring has certainly sprung with a little more spring-like weather here this afternoon in Vancouver. Here at the Thunderbird Show Park. Daniel Coyle. Weathered up for the Irishman. Legacy. 12-year-old. A mare by Chippendale Z. Finished 4th in the 5-star Grand Prix in Wellington, in that Rolex Grand Prix back at the start of April. And Legacy has been the horse he rode actually at the European Championships last year too. That was in Riesenbeck in Germany. And Daniel Coyle, nothing to prove for this combination, deciding to retire there. And Tally de Jong now with the second ride. Heavenly Star this time. Dutch bred 10-year-old mare by Van Gogh for the US rider. Tanner Rotkin, part of the Spico Spies, leading the way for the US on 38.65. Conasuelo in second, Patricio Pascal in third for Mexico at the moment. Tally's second ride here as well. Good opportunity for a number of the under 25 riders too, of course, to get involved in Major League jumping. A number of the Californian riders made their way up the coast and over the border here to the Canadian shows. Of course, a series of shows to run here over the next couple of months. Thunderbird getting them into their stride for 5 stars, but a succession of 5 stars coming up to here and then, of course, on to Spruce Meadows. Major League jumping, we'll see the first stage here, and then it'll be August before we get into our second stage, so a little bit of a break, and that will be in Traverse City in Michigan, early part of August. And music playing up as the drums bounce around. 50.04 going clear there for Tally this time around as well. Recent Grand Prix winning combination in Kentucky. Shane Sweetnam, Alejandro, 13-year-old now. Riding on his championship horse for Sweetnam. 5-star Grand Prix winner last year in Wellington as well. Shouldn't have too much trouble with the fences here. This again will be really just a stretch for this horse in the easiest sense. This little workout. Let's see whether this is be his choice for tomorrow's jump-off class. And, of course, Grand Prix here on Sunday. Alejandro getting a steady cruise round at 51.26. Again, not some class or course that's going to take too much out of that pair, and that's the plan. Another well-established star in Ken Farrington and Gazelle, the horse he rode to win the Aachen Grand Prix previously back in 2019, now 16 years of age, by Kashmir van Schutterhoff, Belgian bred as well, for Robin Parsky. winners of the National Horse Show World Cup qualifier in Lexington last year. Continued to be number ones in Spruce Meadows last year too. Kent's consistently been up there in the world's top 10. Winner, in fact, of the Rolex top 10 before now in Geneva. I would think this will be the horse that he'll turn to for the Grand Prix this week. We'll see. Also, here he's going to be on the squad for the US team for the Nations Cup here next week as well. Kent with the luxury of a few options to go to now. Really exciting group coming through to refresh the Farrington string at the top level. Take a little bit of pressure off this superb horse. It keeps the well-established results throughout. And one worth watching goes clear. And again, like Alejandro, easily enough, 51.72. Clear for Kent Farrington and Gazelle. Watch out for more for them later on into the week. Canadian Lisa Carlson, live stream to 12-year-old by Lodanis for the Oldenburg. Out of Heidi Bluet for Lisa. Lisa well established at the top level for the Canadians, and again been part of their Nations Cup teams on a number of occasions before now, including right the way through to the Olympic Games. That was in '88, World Cup finals, and actually finished top 3 in Thermal earlier on this year with this horse having ridden down on the west coast there. Based in Okotoks, Alberta. Again, good consistent finisher. And this shouldn't all pose too much of a stress for them. Placed in the World Cup here last year as well. Canadians with a very good run recently, including the win in La Ball, Beth Underhill there. This gives you a good shot of the wide, very lovely field here at Thunderbird. Lisa going to be competing here this week under the individual banner. And there we go. Music plays, so they go on to the clear. And it is clear there for Lisa Carlson and live stream too. So at this point, with Lisa Carlson getting the clear there as well, 52.28 from her, 26th position overall. It means that Tana Karotkin is still leading with President on 38.65. Connor Swell in second, Nadal Hero and DB for the Irishman. And in third, Mexico's Patricio Pascal and Cozumel as top 3 at this stage for this opening welcome. To say, really a first touch around the arena for them here this week, just digging their toes into this fabulous turf. And we're going to take another little break as they just run the tractors around the warm-up area and back on the way in around 10 minutes for their final third.
I'm Danielle Toronto, and we are customers of Marshall and Sterling. They have been amazing for us, for our business. They take care of our farm, our horses, our cars. It's basically one-stop shopping for us.
I'm Jimmy Toronto. Unfortunately, we've actually had to really use Marshall and Sterling for horse deaths, and I have to say that Marshall and Sterling has been an amazing company. They have taken care of things. It's been worry-free. The person we deal with, Missy, she takes it all upon herself. Once we go to her with the claim, she does it all for us. And I have to say, since we've been with Marshall and Sterling, I just can't think of going anywhere else. I put all my trust, all my faith in them.
When every second counts, the surface matters. Premier Equestrian features Pro-Tex footing product and auto sport base mats. Mats absorb up to 40% of the concussion. Pro-Tex provides maximum stability. Premier Equestrian is the official footing partner of Major League Show Jumping. Contact us about your arena at premierequestrian.com.
The beauty, power, and elegance of warm blood horses is no accident. A history of carefully crafted breeding practices that walk the delicate line of art and science has created a horse that is as strong as it is graceful, so that it may successfully compete at the most elite level in equine sports. Breeders can access an American Stallion station that provides both fresh chilled and frozen semen options with full transparency on semen quality. Set on 800 acres of Lexington, Kentucky bluegrass, Spy Coast Farm is revolutionizing the breeding practices of warm blood horses. World-renowned stallions with proven bloodlines that have successfully competed at the top level of international Grand Prix sport are collected by a resident veterinarian and processed promptly for shipment to a domestic breeder for a timely insemination of their ovulating mare. The experts at Spy Coast Farm are determined to improve your U.S. breeding options by taking the guesswork out of semen quality.
Alden Brown is a proud sponsor of Thunderbird Show Park. Through our long-standing partnership with Thunderbird, we have seen firsthand the incredible impact of their events for competitors, spectators, and the community as a whole. At Alden Brown, we invest in our clients' futures and in the communities where our clients and team members live and work. Community involvement is in our firm's DNA. It was part of our founder's vision nearly 100 years ago and remains a core value of Alden Brown today. Our team members are passionate about supporting their communities, and they give back in a variety of ways. As a firm, we are proud to partner with organizations like Thunderbird Show Park that share our commitment to making an impact on our community now and for generations.
Integrity, caring, agility, collaboration. Every day, our people go to work delivering inspired solutions in structures and logistics, electricity, natural gas, retail energy, and ports and transportation to homes, businesses, and communities around the world. Find out more at atco.com.
back underway now with our third and final stint of the two-phase competition here at our CSI5 start. Number 905 will be getting us back underway here. Squirt gun with rider Paul O'Shea, riding for eye candy jumpers.
Well, welcome back everybody to this opening 5-star competition, of course here at Thunderbird Show Park in Vancouver. Of course, this is the first leg of the 2022 Major League show jumping season, and we're kicking things off with this two-phase competition over fences of 1 meter 40 in height. So the following competitor after our short break is Paul O'Shea with Squirt Gun. Paul is on the Eye Candy team. Once again, of course, the Eye Candy team who were the champions in 2021. Squirt Gun is his 11-year-old who he had on many appearances for the team in 2021. He was on the winning team for Eye Candy at 3 of the legs last year. Of course, in this competition, we see the riders jumping in both the first and the second phase. They do not have to stop after the first phase if they have had a fence down. Paul, of course, is a rider who's jumped at a number of championships, World Equestrian Games, Nations Cup teams, Nations Cup finals. He's certainly one to watch as both an individual in the Grand Prix on Sunday and, of course, for the team. So clear in the first round and 2 time penalties in the second round for Paul O'Shea and Squirt Gun. Puts him into 32nd place at the moment. Our leader still is Tanner Korotkin, that double clear, and a time of 38.65 in the second phase. Connor Swale takes the second spot at the moment, and Patricio Pascal is in third. But it really has been a star-studded lineup in this competition, and it's going to continue to be that way in these 5-star classes. Kent Farrington has already jumped in this class, as well as Bliss Hears. Ashley Bond is on our list, Shane Sweetenham, and we've got plenty more exciting competitors to come here, and they are getting ready for the rest of the weekend for that team and individual competition. Hunter Holloway next in then, with Dana de Clergen. This is a 9-year-old mare by My Lord Carthago. This is Hunter's third ride in this class. All riders can bring forward 3 horses here. And again, she's no stranger to the very top level, ridden in various World Cup finals. Of course, it's quite a big arena here, this lovely grass arena, and this venue will play host to both the Major League show jumping competition this week, as well as a Nations Cup competition next week as well. And many of the horses and riders always, you know, really enjoy jumping on these big grass arenas. It certainly gives a different feeling to the sand arenas and those smaller atmospheres. Well, there we go, the music goes up, so it's a double clear for Hunter Holloway. Takes 12th spot at the moment. Next up, though, we have Vanessa Hood. Vanessa rides for the USA. Another team rider. She is on the Lugano Diamonds team. Here she rides Cascalretto. This is a 10-year-old by Casal. Horse previously ridden by Jana Frederica Meyer-Zimmermann. Vanessa began competing this horse internationally in 2021. Giving a few of these fencers a little bit of a rub, but it's a great opportunity for them today to really get the feel of this arena. Really sets the tone for the rest of the weekend's competition. Well, there we go then. A fence in the first round and a fence in the second round for Vanessa Hood and Cascalretto. Puts her into 54th at the moment. Competitor here on home turf then is Alicia Gadban-Lewis. She rides Beneficial. This is a 10-year-old. And this combination have been jumping very well recently. It was second in a 2-star Grand Prix in Wellington earlier this year. Here, of course, competing in this 5-star class. But again, at their last appearance here in Vancouver, they came third in the 2-star Grand Prix, also jumped in the World Cup competition. Just fighting a little bit, the horse getting a little bit strong, and that is something that can happen in a big arena like this. You know, there is a lot of space, there's a lot of opportunity for the horses to get a little bit strung out and get a bit strong. Good to the last, and a double clear for Alicia Gadban-Lewis and Beneficial. Double clear, the time in the second round 42.66, puts it into 5th place at the moment. Our leader still though is Tana Korotkin.
As we go now to 10:37, Rowan Willis.
Well, the rain has just started to pick up a little bit, and of course that slightly changes the environment, just slightly changes the footing, especially in this grass arena. The footing is absolutely immaculate though in this arena. It's something that has been prepared to perfection. So Rowan Willis now in the arena for Australia with Billy Gilder. He's been competing this horse around America and Mexico. Also competed in the UK at Harthill, Hickstead, various different shows in the summer of 2021. Has one pole down there. They will not be challenging the leaders in this competition. But in any case, it really is an opportunity for both horses and riders to get a feel for the arena. Horse previously ridden by Lucy Townley of Great Britain. Well, Rowan Willis clears the last, but they go into 50th place. 60.76 the time there, so quite a costly round for time then for Rowan Willis. Fence down in the first round, but yes, a costly round for time. Our next starter will be Callie Scott for the US. With Garant, this is an 11-year-old. The horse is by Warrant. Really gives these fences quite a lot of height. These fences, remember, are 1.40 m in height. Previously ridden by Beezy Madden up until 2021. Callie Scott has competed this horse in Wellington earlier this year. A 5th and a 6th place in 2-star competitions there. Well, 5 for her in the second round, 5 for Callie Schott and Garant. 57.57 was her time. Clear in the first round, but those 5 penalties puts her into 46th place. We turn now to Mexico, and our next starter will be Patricio Pascal, here with Dublin. He's in 3rd place, of course, with his other ride. Patricio Pascal competed on the Major League show jumping circuit last year. No doubt we might see him again at one of his home competitions. Just takes his time around that turn, gets a little bit of a deeper shot just to ensure the height over the Major League show jumping upright. He did jump in the FEI Jumping Nations Cup competition in Quapexpan. That was back in March this year, on the team there with the horse Babel. Also competed in Mexico City in April, again with his horses Babel and Cozumel, winning a 5-star competition there. This though, Dublin is a 12-year-old mare by Chaco Blue. This is of course a 2-phase competition, but even if they have fences down in that first phase, they do still continue into the second phase. So it's a total of 12 in the first round for Patricio Pascal. Goes into 53rd place. We turn now to Ireland. We have a strong Irish contingent here in Vancouver this weekend with many top riders. Shane Sweetenham, Conor Swale, just to name a couple. For Ireland now though is Robert Blanchette with Chardonnay. Based in California, with his wife, they run Blanchette Equestrian there, and he in fact grew up in California as well. He did compete this horse at the Major League show jumping leg in Thermal in California at the back end of last year, jumping in various 5-star competitions there. Also jumped in Las Vegas at the World Cup show there. But this is an arena that this combination have been successful in before. They won a 3-star Grand Prix here in August 2021. And as we've been saying, it's definitely an opportunity for both horses and riders to get used to this arena, but certainly not something that will be a problem for this combination. They are already successful over this arena. Double clear then for Robert Blanchette and Chardonnay. They go into 20th place. The time in the second phase was 50.14. The leading time in that second phase is 38.65. So Robert Blanchette a little way behind there. But goes just ahead of the middle of the field. 85 starters on the start list for this competition, and each rider can bring forward 3 horses here. Niall Nassar is next in for Egypt with El Conde. This is an 11-year-old gelding. This horse was previously ridden by Mark Blumen and also by Gerardo Pascal Mendez. Niall's been competing this in various 5-star competitions, but this is a horse that you may have seen at the Major League show jumping show in Thermal last year with Mark Blumen. They had a win in a 4-star competition in Wellington in March, but have a good few top 10 placings recently this year. It's certainly been a successful partnership so far for Nail Nassar. Also took this horse to Miami Beach, jumping in the 5-star classes there, as well as to New York, 6th in a 3-star Grand Prix. This horse is a real trier and is extremely keen to keep the fences up. I was hearing earlier that this horse is very wound up when it doesn't have a clear round. Just adding a few of his own flares there as well. Four in that second phase then. 45th place is the result for Nail Nassar and El Conde, clear in the first phase, but 4 in the second, 56.13 the time. So Tana Korotkin still leads the way, and that's looking like it will be a performance that we might see keep the top place on the leaderboard for quite some time. Well, Hilary McNerney is next in. A team rider for the Lugano Diamonds and also represents the USA. She rides Chuck 27 here. This is a 15-year-old by Ravenna. Again, she's been competing this horse in Florida very recently, all the way up to 5-star level. But again has competed this horse in Vancouver here in September of last year. They were 3rd in a 4-star competition here. Well, quite a late falling pole there, just a very light rub taking that rail. Hilary McNerney then and Chuck 27. 4 faults in each phase puts her into 51st place. Well, we turn to another team rider now. Another of the Major League show jumping team riders, Alexis Sokolov. On the Roadrunners team, here she rides Fasole du Seigneur. It's an 11-year-old mare. This was a previous ride of Marlon Madola Zanatelli and his wife Angelica Augustin Zanatelli, before Alexis took over the reins in 2021. You can see as the rain is just starting to set in here, it's just getting slightly wetter underfoot, but the footing really is fantastic in this arena and it's certainly not causing too many problems. Gets a bit of pace up there, heading to fence 9, heading into this second phase. Remember, Tana Korotkin is our leader with that time, just over 38 seconds. This is looking like a pretty strong time, a pretty strong performance. Well, it's another double clear, this time for Alexis Sokolov and Fasole du Seigneur. 38.99 was her time, so goes pretty close, goes into second place, just over 0.3 of a second behind Tana Korotkin. Alexis Sokolov now heads into one of those podium spots, into second. Ashley Bond now in the arena. She rides, of course, for Israel. Ashley has had some fantastic performances recently. And this horse, Donatello 141, was her Olympic horse at the Tokyo Olympics. Ashley herself has also ridden at 4 World Cup finals and 1 World Equestrian Games. But Donatello is certainly one of her real stars this season. Her other top ride, of course, being Caroline of Ballamore. But this is the horse that she took to the Olympics. She also won a 5-star competition with this at Calgary at the end of 2021. And very recently won a 3-star. Well, Ashley Bond opts to retire, saving this horse for another day. Retires in that second phase of competition. Andrew Bournes will be next in, heading us back to Ireland. He rides C Top Blue. We can just see the setting of the arena in this beautiful atmosphere with excellent facilities. Many of the riders have been talking about how fantastic the facilities are at the Thunderbird Show Park. It really is a real rider favourite. Andrew is riding C Top Blue. This is the 11-year-old gelding by Chaco Blue. Andrew runs the Bournes Sport Horses USA in Wellington in Florida. Comes, of course, from a family involved in the sport. He's had some really good results with this horse. He won a 4-star Grand Prix in Wellington recently and was also on the winning team in the Nations Cup in Wellington as well. So another rider retires then in this competition again, just saving the horse for another day. Lacey Gilbertson is up next. She rides for Spy Coast Spies. And here has Damsel Stermel. This horse is just a 9-year-old, but one that we perhaps might see on the Spyco Spies team later this weekend. She's been competing this horse up to 3-star level so far. That's the competitions that they've been doing this year. The horse was also previously ridden by Shane Sweetnam. 2 international starts for Shane. Lacey now well into this second phase. Vancouver is the first leg on the Major League Show Jumping 2022 season. It's a new venue for the series. The first of 10. Lacey Gilbertson then heads into 22nd place. Double clear, but the time 50.23, so a little more than 12 seconds behind our leader. Our leader still is Tana Korotkin with that fast time of 38.65. Emma Marlowe is now in the arena. She brings Cherokee forward here now. This 15-year-old by Cardento. Of course, Style Hall was a horse that she rode quite extensively in the Major League team competition last year. This year she rides on the Trailblazers team. Alongside the likes of Daniel Blumen, Jessica Mendoza, Cara Rather Carey as well. Again, she has had some good results with this horse. 3rd in a 2-star Grand Prix in Thermal in California last year. But yeah, was a keen fixture on the Major League Show Jumping circuit in 2021. Another double clear then for Emma Marlowe and Cherokee. The time 47.6. That'll put her into 14th place. Well, we have around 15 riders left to jump here. And the next of those is Jordan Coyle. Jordan is another rider on the Spy Coast Spies Major League Show Jumping team. Here he rides Picador, with whom he won a 4-star competition in New York. That was earlier this month. He was also on the 5th place team in Thermal last year at the Major League Show Jumping show, but he won the Grand Prix there, the 5-star Grand Prix with Ariso. That is his other horse. Of course, they can bring forward 3 rides here, but do keep an eye out to see which horses the teams choose to field in Saturday's team competition. Of course, 3 riders come forward in the first round of the team competition. Then 2 riders from the top 4 teams go forward to the second round. And then, of course, we have those rounds for just 1 rider per team to decide the podium places. Another double clear then for Jordan Coyle. Picador, double clear, and the time was 44:21, goes into 7th place. Well, Jacqueline Steffens is in next. Of course, a familiar face on the Major League Show Jumping circuit and a familiar face on the Eye Candy team. Her horse here is Freaky, 12-year-old gelding by Darko. This really was a horse that Jacqueline campaigned on the Major League Show Jumping series extensively last year, and in fact they are the combination with the most appearances on any team in the 2021 season. No doubt we'll be seeing them a lot in the 2022 season as well. She's also jumped this horse in Nations Cup competitions. It won in Mexico in March. Recently they were 3rd in a Grand Prix in Wellington, a 3-star Grand Prix. But you know, lots of appearances for the Eye Candy team, and they are looking like such a strong team again for this new season. Jacqueline contributed to so many of their wins last year. Of course, the team had 7 podium finishes and 4 wins. Just so super consistent. And they'll certainly be looking to maintain that consistency for this new season. Two time faults then in that second phase. The time was 54:49. So Jacqueline Steffens and Freaky had themselves a little way down the leaderboard. But again, it's a combination that I'm sure we will be seeing plenty of as this week progresses. 4 days of 5-star competition to come, culminating in the team competition on Saturday and the Grand Prix on Sunday. They are definitely competitions that you won't want to miss. Manuel Gonzalez Dufresne is next in with Marciales. With this horse, he's been competing in a number of competitions all around Mexico, right up to 5-star level, including that Nations Cup show in March. And they've got a good number of top 10 placings. Most recently, they were 2nd in a 2-star in Mexico City. This, of course, and these competitions this weekend are a little bit of a bigger question, a bit of a stiffer task for this combination. Just opting to retire there, Manuel Gonzalez Dufresne. Again, saves the horse, perhaps for the rest of the weekend. All of that action that we were just talking about, the team competition and the Grand Prix, can of course be watched live on MajorLeagueShowJumping.com and on the Major League Show Jumping app. All available to watch this weekend. So our current leader, of course, is still Tanner Korotkin. That unbeatable time at the moment of 38.65. He leads the way. Alexis Sokolov holds the second spot. Connor Swale holds the third spot. So the top three are all key riders for Major League teams. Tanner Korotkin, of course, on the Spy Coast Spies team. Alexis Sokolov in second on the Roadrunners team. And Connor Swale, current world number 5 on iCandy team. Eugenio Garza Perez is our next competitor heading into the ring, and again another firm fixture on the Major League Show Jumping Series for the team. For Team Helios. He rides on that team alongside Ashley Bond, Bliss Hears, Carl Cook, Mark Blumen and Simon McCarthy. He's riding Victor Finn DHZ here. Moved to Texas aged 15 from Mexico and then relocated to Florida. Of course, qualified for the 2020 Olympic Games as well. Eugenio Garza then retires as well. Our next rider is a rider for the Crusaders team. It is Beezy Madden, who needs no introduction. Of course, 4-time Olympic rider, 3-time World Equestrian Games rider, and numerous World Cup finals, Nations Cup finals. This horse, Breitling LS, is her 16-year-old gelding. The horse that she's ridden to 2 World Cup finals and 2 Pan American Games. Won the Yeah, certainly the Crusaders is looking like a very strong team this year, alongside Beezy Madden, of course, her absolute wealth of experiences, Hunter Holloway, Nicolas Della Gioia, Callie Schott and Catherine Strauss. Crusaders team combining riders with a great level of experience alongside young talent as well. 2 faults then in the second phase for Beezy Madden, clearing the first phase but 2 in the second phase. 54.13 was her time, so she goes into 37th. Sean Jobin is in next then for Canada. A rider on the Northern Lights team. He rides there alongside his compatriots Sam Walker and Vanessa Mannix, as well as Taylor St. Jacques and Darren Dillin. Also, Juan Ortiz joins them, the Venezuelan rider on the Northern Lights team. This is a bit of a home competition for that team in Vancouver, and they're certainly looking to make their mark here. Here Sean rides Coquelio VH Havelian Z. This horse was successful as a young horse. It's a 10-year-old now, 10-year-old stallion, but previously ridden in the young horse competitions by Juliette Faligo, with a good number of wins at that level, but a good few top 10 placings as well with Sean at Ocala, Sarasota and Lexington. Well, our next double clear then, going to Sean Jobin, takes the 8th spot with a time of 44.77. Tanika Rotkin still leads though. That is still the unbeatable performance. 38.65 is the time for our leader. Quentin Judge then is our next starter with HH Zorro Z. This horse is a 9-year-old by VDL Zirocco Blue. Quentin riding for the USA.
Yeah, I guess that's supposed to be what, like 29, 28?
I think there's one. Might be one tomorrow? No, there's one on Saturday for sure. What's the other job?
He rode in the World Cup final back in 2016. And again has been competing this horse on a few of the Major League show jumping legs last season, including in Traverse City back in September of last year. Goes into 46 then, clear in the first phase and 4 faults to add in the second phase for Quentin Judge. Heads around the middle of our leaderboard into 46th place. Well, we only have a few riders left to bring you, and it really is an opportunity to see the horses and riders in action that you might be seeing in our big classes on Saturday and Sunday. Of course, this is an opportunity for them to get used to this arena, get used to the atmosphere, and get a bit of a feel for the space that they have. It is a large grass arena which will play host to the Major League Show Jumping team competition on Saturday and to the 5-Star Grand Prix on Sunday. Next up is Brian Morton. He rides Crusader Z. Crusader Z is a 13-year-old mare by Chaco Blue.
Oh yeah, I was using the screen. Yeah. Yeah, so I could zoom in and out. I would have zoomed in here. Yeah, this zoom is really annoying. Because it'll all of a sudden just go on you. So is it the one that freezes up? Oh.
But he competed this horse at the World Cup show in September here in Vancouver at this very venue. Takes a bit of a tighter turn there. Could have a bit of an eye on the time. Well, we aren't seeing the fences falling too much around this course, but the black and gold fence there falling for Brian Morton, and we have seen that come down a few times. It's perhaps one of the more influential fences around the course. So one fence down in the second phase, and a time of 44.42 goes into 47th place. Hilary McNerney is back in the arena with another ride for her. She rides on the Lugano Diamonds team. Her teammates there are Erin Ballard, Kent Farrington, former world #1, Natalie Dean, Vanessa Hood and Carly Fairty. Lugano Diamonds, that newly named team this year.
I think so, maybe, yeah. Yeah, you're probably right, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, buddy. You too. Have a good night.
The Lugano Diamonds, of course, will be competing in the team competition. Good to the last then, but a fence down in the first phase and a fence down in the second phase for Hilary McNerney. Lacey Gilbertson heads into the arena for one last time then this afternoon. This time she brings Carlin Vante Vennerhoff forwards to this competition. This, of course, being the first 5-star competition of the week, and we do have 4 days of 5-star action. Tomorrow we have a class in the afternoon, which is a qualifier for the Grand Prix. Then the team competition on Saturday, and that 5-star Grand Prix on the Sunday. Carlin van te Vennehoff is a 12-year-old by Fantomas Muse. But she recently won a 2-star competition in Wellington with this horse. And this is another former ride of Shane Sweetnam, who jumped this horse in Nations Cup and World Cup competitions. But it is only a 12-year-old, this mare. You may recognise this horse's name as Shane Sweetnam won one of the 5-star competitions in Rockwood, Ontario on the Major League Show Jumping circuit last season. That was in August of last year. He had 2 wins that show with this horse. Lacey Gilbertson sits in 25th place in this competition with Damsel Saint-Amel. And jumps clear in both phases with this horse. Heads into 23rd place, a double clear, and 49.98 is the time on the clock for the second phase. Tanner Korotkin still leads though. He is still the rider out in front with that time of 38.65. Jacqueline Steffens is back in the arena now, this time with Cat Ninja. This is another horse by VDL Zirocco Blue. Jacqueline Steffens, of course, a real stalwart of the Eye Candy team last year, and no doubt she will be again this year. Freaky was the horse that she rode in this competition earlier, and the horse that she was so successful with in the team competition last year. But Cat Ninja is another real talent for her. Of course, she rides on the Eye Candy team alongside Amy Miller, Connor Swale, Daniel Coyle, Dylan Daly and Paul O'Shea. She had a win with this horse at one of the final legs of the 2021 Major League season. That was in Thermal in California. But a good few top 10 placings as well at other Major League shows last season. In the 5-star competitions in Ontario, in Traverse City, to name a couple. She retires Cat Ninja here. Final ride for Jacqueline Steffens and she retires, but no doubt we will see her in the team competition later this weekend. Well, from a rider for the Eye Candy team, we now go to a rider for the Northern Lights. This is Juan Ortiz, and he is going to be our final rider in this competition. He is the only rider who can knock Tanner Korotkin off the top spot. He rides Toulouse Z, this 11-year-old mare by Toulon. Juan Ortiz has competed at one World Equestrian Games, the Tryon World Equestrian Games in 2018, as well as in 2 Pan American Games. His top horse for those World Equestrian Games was My Pleasure. This horse, though, Toulouse Z, is one that he's been riding recently. A previous ride of Delaney Flynn and Jana Vargas, also previously ridden by McLean Ward. That was back in earlier in 2021. Juan rides for Venezuela, but also opts to retire in this competition. So that concludes this first opening 5-star class in Vancouver at Thunderbird Show Park. The win goes to Tanner Korotkin. Second place goes to Alexis Sokolov, and third goes to Connor Swale. Over the course of this week, we will have a number of 5-star competitions to bring you, and the ones that you certainly won't want to miss are the team competition, the Major League Show Jumping team competition, and the 5-star Grand Prix, all of which are available to watch on MajorLeagueShowJumping.com and on the Major League Show Jumping app. Join us tomorrow for the next of these exciting 5-star jumping competitions, and we hope that you will join us for the rest of the weekend's action.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, there they are, our champions of our FBI CSI 5-star 2-phase competition this afternoon. Their time held the test of time all the way through 3865. Congratulations to Tanner Korotkin and President Van Fulstahl. Congratulations once phase competition today. Taking home second, Alexis Sokolova and Basilda Senya. In third was Connor Swale and Nadal Hero and BB. Fourth we go with Patricio Pascual and Cozumel. Fifth, Oak Groves Carlisle and Daniel Coyle. In sixth, Alicia Lewis and Beneficial. Seventh, Jordan